Today, I bring you a book about how to see the future. Flash Foresight. How to see the invisible and do the impossible. Before we get started, please click on the subscribe button below to stay updated and support Daily Book Dive. Do you ever find yourself saying, "If only I had known, I would have done things differently"? If you had known how much housing prices would rise today, you would have bought several houses 10 years ago, even if you had to sell everything you owned. Now you wouldn't have to work so hard every day. If you've seen the popular movie Goodbye, Mr. Loser, have you ever fantasized about being the protagonist? Going back in time with knowledge of the future and transforming from a loser to a winner in life, marrying a rich and beautiful woman? Whether in the workplace or running your own business, being able to see and grasp the future is undoubtedly a dream come true for everyone. But life is not a movie, and none of us have superpowers. No one can precisely predict the future, but this book can quickly help you find the path and methods to understand the future. In America, there is someone who claims to have the secret to predicting the future. Normally, when someone says that, your first reaction is probably to laugh it off. But it doesn't matter if you don't believe it, because this person has achieved real accomplishments in completely different fields. This guru is Daniel Burrus, the author of this book, a senior futurist in the US who has spent 30 years studying technological trends and their applications in business. He founded the Burrus Research Institute, a world-renowned forecasting organization, and has never missed a single prediction about the future. For example, in 1983, he said that a digital revolution would occur in the 1990s, and indeed, by the late 1990s, mobile phones, cameras, and email had taken the world by storm. In 1984, he said that by 2000, humans would determine the sequence of genes, and sure enough, in June 2000, U.S. President Clinton and British Prime Minister Blair jointly announced the draft of the human genome. Moreover, he is not only the behind-the-scenes advisor for top Fortune 500 companies like Google, GE, Microsoft, and IBM, but also the founder of 6 successful companies. Doesn't his remarkable life need no explanation? In 2009, you might remember it was the worst economic recession in the US in the 20th century. Daniel, who had never received any business education or training, used himself as a sample to start an entrepreneurial experiment to prove his principles of foresight and founded the Vision Applications Company. He wrote and practiced simultaneously, using these principles for company positioning, customer demand excavation, target market selection, pricing strategy design, and market expansion. Within less than 8 months, he achieved profitability. In this book, Daniel reveals for the first time the secrets of how he accurately predicts the future. The other author of this book, John David Mann, is an experienced writer who has written business bestsellers for 25 years. Daniel provides great content, and John ensures excellent writing, making this book a perfect blend of content and form. As soon as it was released, it became a bestseller in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Amazon in the US, highly praised by business elites. To be honest, before reading this book, I didn't believe the future could be predicted and thought it was just a scam. But Daniel says, all changes follow certain rules. Our understanding of the future far exceeds our imagination. We just need to know where to look. This book doesn't really give you the superpower to precisely predict the future, but offers a new perspective on things. You can call it foresight, a thinking ability that helps you learn to distinguish between what will inevitably happen in the future and what might happen. It's a skill that can be developed and strengthened, allowing you to quickly understand the path and methods to the future, helping you make better decisions in the present and take action in advance, instead of being blindly led by the unknown. You can learn this skill of foresight and make better decisions ahead of most people. Simply put, predicting the future may seem mysterious to us, but for this guru, it has become a subject of study, scientifically and rigorously proven, with independent logic and reasoning. As long as you master this thinking ability of foresight, you can see the invisible and do the impossible. Just like in the movie Star Wars. Once you master the Force, your perception of things undergoes a qualitative leap. Daniel provides us with 7 principles that can trigger your foresight. These are the results of his systematic research and application over the past 20 years, worth a fortune. However, 7 principles might be too many, so I'll summarize them into 3 steps. The first step is to see the invisible. The second step is to do the impossible. The third step is to shape the future. Let's go through them one by one. First step. Let's start by discussing what it means to see the invisible. No matter how rapidly the world changes, we can be certain that there is always some certainty in the midst of uncertainty. To see the future, the most important thing is to find the rules within the uncertainty, that is, to identify what is certain. Daniel provides a key method for this, which is to distinguish between hard trends and soft trends. For example, 10 years from now, you will be 10 years older. This is a hard trend. But will your health improve, deteriorate, or stay the same? We can't be 100% sure because this is a soft trend. It depends on your actions. Another example is when we hear that artificial intelligence AlphaGo defeated the world-class Korean Go player Lee Sedol, we can judge that AI will replace humans in more and more fields. This is also a hard trend. But we don't know when AI will become widespread and which fields it will prioritize replacing humans. This is a soft trend. In general, hard trends are things that will definitely happen and are future certainties, such as the changing seasons, the tides, or the inevitability of aging and technological progress. We can find obvious certainties about the future in these patterns. Soft trends, on the other hand, are things that might happen and are future uncertainties influenced by human actions. By identifying hard trends, we can discover the future. By identifying soft trends, we can change the future. There's a striking example in the book. In 1993, Daniel gave a speech at the American Booksellers Association. Reportedly, there were over 10,000 booksellers in attendance. He predicted that within 2 to 3 years, virtual bookstores would emerge and change the way people buy books. Everyone thought he was crazy. At that time, these people hadn't even seen the internet, and the earliest web browsers like Netscape were still in development, let alone virtual bookstores. However, a year after that speech, someone founded a company called Cadabra. Another year later, Cadabra launched an online bookstore and later changed its name to Amazon. That person was Jeff Bezos. 4 years later, Bezos appeared on the cover of Time magazine as Person of the Year. The emergence of virtual bookstores is a hard trend. You might wonder if there are some rules that can help us identify hard trends. The answer is yes. Daniel has summarized 8 major trends of technological development, which are valuable for identifying clear hard trends in the future. Dematerialization, virtualization, mobilization, product intelligence, networking, interactivity, globalization, and convergence. These might be a bit difficult to understand, so let me give you some examples. For thousands of years, the medium for writing has evolved from bamboo slips to paper to electronic documents. This is the process of dematerialization, using software to simulate reality, such as simulating an atomic explosion or virtual bookstores and virtual lives. All belong to virtualization. We increasingly use mobile devices like smartphones and iPads to access information and interact anytime, anywhere. This is mobilization. If one day you're driving and your car's voice assistant alerts you that your rear tire is low on air, and the navigation system tells you there's a gas station 3 kilometers ahead where you can fill up. This is product intelligence achieved through sensors and networks. Today, people and objects can be connected in real time through networks, facilitating communication and information transmission. This is networking. We have moved from passively reading news online to interacting on social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, participating in TV show voting, or having a virtual second life. We have more ability to communicate and interact with various things. This is interactivity. We can get real-time updates on the US elections, or software companies can hire foreign programmers across borders. This is globalization. A smartphone integrates functions like a phone, camera, music player, and map, or a bookstore combined with a cafe, achieving a synergy greater than the sum of its parts. This is convergence. You might be able to find many examples around you that fit these 8 principles, such as online shopping, virtual reality, internet finance, and intelligent robots. These are all evolving along these 8 principles. When you master these clear, hard trends, you'll find that many things can be predicted using these principles. This is what the author Daniel Burrus means by the first step: see the invisible. We have discussed what hard and soft trends are and the 8 principles for identifying hard trends in technology. How should we apply this first step in practice? It's essential to grasp hard trends because that is where the opportunity lies. As the author says, if it is possible, it will happen. If you don't do it, someone else will. You have probably experienced situations where others succeeded with ideas you had thought of but abandoned due to uncertainty or fear of taking risks. When you identify hard trends that will inevitably happen in the future and shift your mindset from being reactive to proactive, you can take action before the trend arrives and seize the advantage. Jumping out of the book to share some personal experience, when advising entrepreneurs seeking funding, I've noticed an interesting phenomenon. Despite seemingly similar project directions and good teams, some quickly secure investment and grow rapidly, while others do not. The growth speed and potential of a company largely depend on the founder's ability to see the future. Different levels of understanding of the future lead to different judgments, which significantly impact market positioning, strategic path selection, business model design, product development, and building competitive barriers. Initially, the differences might not be apparent. But after a year or two, these companies will have drastically different outcomes. The book mentions a great method for gaining foresight called future benchmarking. For example, if you want to become an excellent manager, find someone you admire or respect as a role model. When handling any task at work, whether communicating with colleagues or making decisions, think about how they would do it and try to follow their thought process and approach. This way, you'll quickly become like them. I recall when I worked in a multinational company, many colleagues eagerly sought opportunities to work at headquarters, likely because they could observe the CEO's actions and quickly improve themselves by following a role model. This is the first step. See the invisible. Once you identify a hard trend, act on it immediately because it will happen whether you do it or someone else does. Taking action early gives you the advantage. Second step, do the impossible. How can we do the impossible? Daniel proposes 3 principles to enhance foresight in the book. Transformation, thinking contrary to your current problem. And redefining and creating. To put it simply, you must be fully aware that the world is undergoing revolutionary changes due to the technological explosion. Foresight means skipping current problems, using unconventional and reverse thinking to find real problems and solutions. Identifying your core strengths. And redefining your value or products. It might sound confusing, so let me give you some examples. In the past, whether for businesses or individuals, changes were often incremental. For example, in the music industry, from vinyl records to cassette tapes to CDs, companies like Sony and Warner created unprecedented prosperity. However, with the hard trends of bandwidth, computing, and storage advancing rapidly, they relied too heavily on selling physical products and ignored the development of virtual music. A company, once considered doomed by industry experts, saw this trend and successively launched the iPod digital music player and the iTunes online music store. It took less than 7 years to become America's largest music retailer. I think you already know the name of this company, Apple. In 2001, when the iPod was launched, the MP3 player market was only $50 million. 5 years later, this market's sales exceeded $2 billion and iPod shipments reached 250 million units. This is the significance of foresight, meeting the needs of consumers before they realize it themselves. That's the key to enduring business success. The transition of music media from physical to virtual is a perfect example of technological progress following the paths of dematerialization, mobilization, and networking. When a new era driven by technological revolution arrives, those previously successful companies or traditional success rules will fundamentally be shaken. Whether you're a company or an individual, merely becoming bigger, stronger, faster, or higher through linear progress based on the current situation is far from enough. You need to do something fundamentally different. Incremental change is doomed to fail. You need transformation, radical transformation. This is the first action principle. Transformation. The author shares a classic case in the book. Eli Lilly, one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, faced its biggest crisis in 2001. The core patent for its top-selling antidepressant Prozac was about to expire, and their next-generation drug encountered major research and development challenges. These bad news caused Eli Lilly's stock price to plummet by over 30% in one day, evaporating more than $36 billion. To solve the new drug development problem, they needed to hire at least 1,000 more researchers, but they didn't have enough money to hire them. Most people would think the problem is a lack of money. But is it really? If you skip the money issue, you'll find that Eli Lilly's real problem is how to solve new drug development. How did Eli Lilly eventually solve this problem? They created a global online scientific forum, offered rewards for research challenges, and recruited scientists worldwide to participate. Finally, they solved the new drug development problem, saving money and quickly resolving the issue. Many times in your life and work, the problem that first comes to mind may not be the real problem. Just like Eli Lilly's issue appeared to be about money, but it was actually about solving new drug development. Even the smartest people can only get the wrong answers if they ask the wrong questions. You can try breaking free from old, habitual thinking, thinking outside the box, or thinking differently to explore the underlying issues and find the real problem. To grasp the future and do the impossible, you first need to change your mindset, which will bring you new solutions and creativity. This is the second action principle. Think contrary to your current problem. The author shares a real story about his friend Lillian. Lillian is a real estate agent who, along with her husband, achieved $500 million in sales in 1 year, selling only ordinary houses. What does this mean? It means that even if each house sold for $2 million, they would need to sell at least 250 houses a year, closing a deal every day and a half. But they succeeded. Their secret to success is something almost anyone can do. They were the first real estate agents in the US to create individual web pages for each client. These web pages included photos of every room, views from every window, and yard landscapes. To better communicate with clients, they even bought a British taxi. Why a British taxi? Because the rear seats can face each other, allowing them to chat with clients face-to-face on the way to view properties. After closing a deal, they would help clients move for free, assess nearby schools, arrange school enrollment, and even handle cleaning and dental appointments. These small details seem simple, but without passion and dedication, it would be impossible to create such an extraordinary experience for clients. If you were a client, wouldn't you be inclined to refer them to others? Instead of being a regular agent, they chose to leverage their strengths, redefine, and innovate their real estate services. This is Lillian's secret to success. So, to grasp the future and do the impossible, you need to look at things with a fresh perspective, redefine, and create innovatively to achieve what others think is impossible. This is the third action principle: redefine and create. After sharing all this, do you feel inspired? Standing on the hard trends of technological development, you can jump outwards, think in reverse, or break the point to redefine and create. Discovering your unique value and advantages, shaping a better future. In summary, by transforming, thinking contrary to your current problem, and redefining and creating, we achieve the second step: do the impossible. Third step, finally and most importantly, is actively shaping the future. This is a more encompassing principle of foresight. If you don't shape your future, someone else will influence it. Daniel discovered through his global lectures that whether the audience is teachers, nurses, managers, or CEOs, they all have a common issue. They constantly deal with various urgent situations, spinning like a top being whipped, always in a reactive state, hardly finding time to think about the meaning of their actions and their relevance to their future. Do you often encounter such situations? You can try to stop and ask yourself, what is the problem I am facing now? What problems will I encounter in the next few weeks, months, or years? If you proactively think about the future, you can prepare in advance instead of regretting or reacting passively when things happen, making you feel overwhelmed. Daniel introduces a critical method in the book called Future Vision, projecting yourself into the future and looking back at your current position. This is a key foresight skill. It differs from goals, plans, ambitions, or wishes. Future vision is not your hopes or efforts direction, but your actual expectations and convictions about the future. Everyone has a future vision in their mind, whether clear or vague, but you may have never tried to clarify its details and picture. Even if unaware of its existence, it controls your behavior, influencing all your thoughts and actions. Different future visions will create different realities. You will go where you look. This reminds me of a similar concept mentioned by Stephen Covey, a renowned American management master, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Everything is created twice. Your mental envisioning of the future is the first creation, and realizing it in reality is the second creation. For anyone, without a well-prepared first creation, it's challenging to achieve the second creation. Your future essentially stems from your mind. For future vision, the author conducted an interesting experiment. He used this principle to help some underperforming middle school students. On the first day of class, he wrote an A next to each student's name on the report card. For these students, who were used to being disrespected and distrusted, this was a new experience. No one set their starting point at a low grade. Instead, it started from a high grade, believing everyone was inherently smart unless they wanted to prove otherwise by not working hard. This unexpected approach greatly stimulated the students' innate self-esteem because no one wants to be seen as dumb. By the end of the term, the grades of these students, who previously only got DS or FS, improved significantly, with many receiving As and at least BS or CS. From this story, you might feel that if you want different results, you must first envision a good outcome. Whether a company or an individual, consciously setting a clear future vision is essential for leading the future. In life, we often face situations like wanting to spend more time with parents or children but being interrupted by sudden work or emergencies. It's frustrating. But Daniel says this can be changed by clarifying what's most important for your future and reorganizing the priorities in your life. He suggests a great method called Tomorrow Lab, which might inspire you. The Tomorrow Lab requires you to spend 1 hour a week, during which you cut off everything, including your phone and laptop, and stop thinking about current problems like paying bills or taking care of kids. Instead, imagine your future, letting your mind envision what you want your future to look like. Persisting in this practice will gradually reveal a near future to you. Once you see the future certainty, your subconscious will continuously work in the background, enhancing your foresight, helping you break out of current passive and difficult cycles and gain control over your life and work, shaping your future. Summary. This is the core content of the book, Flash Foresight: How to See the Invisible and Do the Impossible. It tells us that to better face the future, we need to do the following. See the invisible. Identify the hard trends of the future and anticipate opportunities. Use the 8 principles to predict what will happen tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, then take action and get ahead. Do the impossible. Merely solving today's problems and avoiding worsening them is not enough. You must think beyond the current issues. Use reverse thinking to find the real problems, then redefine your value based on your core strengths and create solutions. Actively shape your future. No one wants to live passively, so you must actively establish a future vision, plan, and influence the future. Reading this book filled me with excitement as I saw these methods of thinking about the future. These new insights are valuable for investment judgments and offer profound guidance for innovation and entrepreneurs. Although we often talk about dreams, we've never seriously considered the future as a controllable issue. Foresight is merely our worship of legends and myths. We never thought we could possess such a skill. I believe this is the greatest significance of this book, helping ordinary people regain the foresight they deserve. Once you have foresight, you have the ability to shape your future. The original book link is attached at the end for further reading. You can also click the share button below the video to share this book with your friends. Congratulations, you've just finished another book.